And just because
there's a lot of people, 50, I feel like he don't have to say nothing, but 50's crazy. He's been like this his whole life. When he's on the block, oh shit, 50's coming.
In Hollywood specifically, when you get there, a lot of people don't know how to say no. That's the difference between New York City and California.
You heard? I fight all my battles on my own. I take losses and I take my wins the same way. You heard? The same smirk, just like this.
What if 50 Cent wasn't just clapping back at Jim Jones, but plotting the biggest hip-hop expose we've seen in years? That's the question running wild right now across the culture, because out of nowhere, 50 dropped and then deleted a post that threw the whole industry into chaos. The message said, "Some of y'all better chill before I remind the city what really happened." No tags, no emojis, just straight tension packed into one icy thread. Within minutes, fans knew exactly who that was for, Jim Jones. And it didn't take long for the timeline to explode. See, this all went down right after Jim took a little jab during an interview saying, "A lot of these dudes be acting tough for the cameras. We know who really outside now." That line might sound casual to some, but insiders caught it instantly. It was aimed square at 50. And when it comes to 50 Cent, that's not the kind of smoke you toss lightly. We've seen him roast, troll, and end careers over less. But this time, it felt different. Cold, calm, and strategic. Like a man setting a trap, not starting a feud. The timing was way too sharp to be random. Just days before, 50 had hit the stage in Miami with Cameron, side by side, lights flashing, crowd going crazy. That wasn't some friendly reunion, it was chess. Cam and Jim got history, real tension stretching back decades. So when 50 linked up with Cam, people didn't see nostalgia. They saw alliance. And when that post dropped right after, that was the checkmate move. 50 wasn't just talking slick, he was drawing battle lines right in public. Insiders claim he made that post after hearing what Jim said and decided to let everyone know he's ready to remind the streets of what really went down. Things just got real in hip-hop again. The fact that 50 deleted that post just hours later made the whole thing even wilder. In the 50's world, deleting something doesn't mean he's sorry. It means he's already plotting the next move. Every time he pulls something down, it's because the game just shifted behind the scenes. And you can't look at this moment without remembering the history that built it. The tension between G-Unit and Dipset wasn't just about rap, it was New York's Cold War. Queens versus Harlem, business versus bravado. Even when the hits stopped climbing charts, the egos never cooled off. The rivalry was personal, territorial, and way deeper than lyrics. Cameron and Jim Jones? Their partnership was always half brotherhood, half power struggle. Cam built the empire, and Jim tried to expand it. But behind the pink furs and platinum chains was a quiet war for control that never really ended. On Cam's own Rock Solid podcast earlier this year, he said straight up, "Our time together as a group lasted only 7 years, but the drama kept going way past that." He even called out Jim's endless shade. 17 years of subliminals and sneaky disses, from interviews to tracks like Frenemies. Cam made it clear he moved on. But Jim, he was still bleeding from old wounds. That's why 50 standing next to Cam wasn't about nostalgia. It was strategy, a calculated move that reignited an old fire. Industry insiders say 50's warning wasn't about one petty comment. It was about control. By performing shoulder to shoulder with Cam in front of a packed Miami crowd, 50 made a statement louder than any post could. The timing was surgical, the cameras rolling, the internet ready, and the tension thick. Suddenly, Jim didn't look like a bold talker anymore. He looked like the man being boxed out of two kingdoms. One he helped build and another he'll never run. And the craziest part? The way 50 timed it all made it clear this wasn't an outburst, and it was a power move dressed up as a warning. We've seen Jim Jones deal with pressure before, but never like this. His whole image took a hit after that Dipset versus, the LOX versus battle in 2021. That night, Jadakiss didn't just win, he destroyed the stage. It turned into a lyrical massacre that left Dipset stumbling while fans watched in disbelief.
Damn, like, I gotta find another mobile. You know what I mean? And then slowly but surely, I got out of that phase of just trying to chase ball and make music that I could continue to make money. You know what I mean? And I do believe a hit will come, and a few hits have came since.
Jim tried to play it cool later, claiming it was all friendly competition, but the crowd saw the truth clear as day. The LOX came locked in, bars, breath control, energy, everything. Dipset came off scattered, disorganized, and out of sync. That night didn't just hurt their pride, it cracked the foundation of Dipset's legacy. Ever since then, Jim's been in rebuild mode, trying to patch up his image through interviews, fashion collabs, and flashy appearances instead of real chart-topping records. But critics haven't been buying it. Reviews keep calling his new stuff overproduced and plastic. saying the gritty Harlem rawness that made Jim special got swapped out for fake confidence and designer gloss. And that's exactly where 50's jab cut the deepest. It hit right at the soft spot Jim's been trying to cover up for years, his authenticity. When 50 said, "Remind the city," he wasn't talking about some old rap beef. He was talking about history, the kind of street memories that never make it to interviews but still shape reputations across New York. Just the hint that 50 might air out something Jim's been trying to bury has fans dissecting every word, every clip, every old rumor. What's he holding? Business drama, street alliances gone sour, loyalty betrayals inside Dipset? Nobody knows for sure, but the fear is real because 50 doesn't throw empty threats. When he speaks, receipts are usually sitting in a hard drive somewhere ready to drop. And if you know 50's playbook, you know he never moves without strategy. The silence after deleting that post, the Miami performance with Cam, the perfectly cold caption, every piece of it looks like part of a setup. People close to G-Unit swear 50's post wasn't just shade, it was a trailer for something bigger. Rumor is he's been piecing together a documentary-style exposé tied to his expanding media empire, something that could rewrite how people see both him and Jim. So maybe this isn't about petty beef at all, it's about a calculated power move, the kind only 50 Cent could pull off in turning real-life tension into primetime spectacle.
The way anything that he's done in the game, I can't, you heard? And that's not it, but as a competitive man, that's all I'm doing is popping my shit. And this is what hip-hop is about, but for the most part, I got no problem with Nas, shouts to all of them.
Better check my jacket, man. That one line, half flex, half frustration, sums up exactly where Jim Jones stands right now. His whole position in the city keeps slipping, and it's starting to show. Just weeks before all this chaos, Jim was already stirring the pot again, throwing light jabs at a few New York names, including subtle digs at Styles P and Jadakiss. He was trying to remind folks he's still got weight in the city, but every swing kept missing. Styles P didn't even entertain the back and forth. He shut it down cold, saying, "Me and Jim don't do the same thing. I'm a bar master." That line hit like a punch to the gut. Within hours, it spread all over social media, making Jim look like a rapper chasing clout instead of respect. Now every time he talks, the internet side-eyes him like, is he reaching again? And here's where things get wild. The timing.
Jim don't got a green piece of paper. He don't got none of them kind of songs that make cry. A couple of them, but not 20 of them.
That's a venue with 100
catalog.
That's a venue with 100 niggas.
You better check my jacket. You better check my jacket. You better check my jacket.
Cam refusing to reconcile, 50 and Cam linking up in Miami, Jim running interviews, and then total silence after 50's warning. It all lines up too perfectly. It's starting to feel like a domino chain that 50 set up from the very beginning. Even the visuals told a story. 50 and Cam sharing a stage under bright Miami lights while Jim's nowhere to be seen. That's pure symbolism. The same city that once cheered Dipset is now watching its former frontman fade into the background. Word in the industry is that 50's been playing chess while everyone else is still arguing over checkers. Insiders believe he used Cam's old resentment toward Jim as a weapon, fuel for a joint comeback that benefits them both. They've got a shared enemy now, and that unity gives them fresh energy and headlines. For Cam, it's poetic justice, a way to finally outshine Jim without ever needing a diss track. And for 50, it's another reminder that he's still the mastermind, pulling strings and running headlines with nothing but a deleted caption. Jim's cornered, straight up. If he claps back publicly, he risks 50 dropping whatever dirt he's sitting on. But if he stays quiet, it looks like fear.
Me and Jim ain't in the same league. Me and Jim don't do the same things.
Yeah, y'all don't.
I am a bar master.
That's where it's different, though.
I am a lyrical technician.
Uh-huh.
I've been on joints with some of the best MCs in the world.
Uh-huh.
Big, Hove, Black Thought.
That's the kind of psychological trap 50 Cent has perfected his whole career. He builds pressure without breaking a sweat and lets his opponents do the damage to themselves. Even veteran media insiders are calling this one of the most calculated takedowns hip-hop's seen since 50's legendary beefs with other industry titans. But what makes this situation wild is how quiet it all is. No diss tracks, no interviews, just one deleted sentence, and it flipped the entire conversation in the culture. Now every outlet's dissecting the subtext, tracing old ties between G-Unit, Dipset, and the streets that birthed them. Even the fans who lived through that first rivalry can feel the difference this time. The air is heavier, the stakes higher, because if 50's warning, "Remind the city," means what people think it does, then what's coming next might expose way more than a feud. It could rewrite New York hip-hop's power map forever. This might be the move that rewrites reputations for good. Right now, Jim's whole camp is staying dead silent, and 50? He hasn't said another word. But that silence, it's louder than any diss track could ever be, because if there's one thing we've learned about Curtis Jackson, it's that his silence is never peace, it's plotting. He doesn't drop warnings for fun, he drops them with purpose, which means whatever truth he's sitting on, this story's far from over. 50 didn't just throw shade, he lit a fuse. And anyone who knows his history knows what comes next. He doesn't delete posts, he reloads. Every quiet moment from him is just a setup before the next hit. That's what makes this whole situation feel like the calm before the storm. We've seen this exact playbook before. When 50 went at Ja Rule, he didn't just win a beef, he ended an entire era of hip-hop radio. When he shifted his aim toward Diddy, it stopped being about music and turned into corporate exposure. That's why insiders are whispering this time. It's not just another social media spat, it's groundwork for something much bigger. If the pattern repeats, 50's next move won't be lyrical, it'll be surgical. He doesn't fight for clout, he fights for dominance, and he always chooses timing that cuts the deepest. What makes this round even more dangerous for Jim is who's standing next to 50 now, Cameron.
There must be some type of misconception or what's that word when it comes to Jim Jones and what Jim Jones have done in this game. A lot of these rappers,
we made him take the darkies off.
A lot of these rappers have done a tremendous job, and I take nothing away from them, but they forget I got a hell of a catalog.
That alliance isn't about nostalgia, it's revenge in disguise. Two men with different motives, same mission. Just recently, Cam claimed that Jim helped him write parts of his early albums, and that single statement sent shockwaves through the culture. For a lot of people, it sounded like a slick way to chip away at Jim's creative credibility. Jim denied it immediately, but once those words hit the air, the damage was already done, the seed was planted. If that narrative sticks, it flips their entire legacy. Suddenly, Jim doesn't look like the co-founder of Dipset anymore, he looks like a sidekick who played his role while Cam called the shots. And with 50 backing that energy, pushing it to the spotlight, it starts looking less like coincidence and more like a coordinated takedown. You can literally trace the chess moves. 50 linked with Cam right after months of whispers about Dipset's internal cracks, timed perfectly, knowing Cam's resentment never really cooled. Then, boom, a public performance, a deleted warning, and the streets talking again. It's classic 50, strategic, ruthless, and dramatic. The man doesn't just make noise, he makes headlines. Their chemistry on that Miami stage looked effortless, but the subtext was razor sharp.
Definition, Jimmy, because when you think, and if I ask anybody in the streets of New York, like, give me some adjective or definition of Jim Jones, what do you think one of the words would be?
I would hope a survivor, a visionary, a philanthropist, a person with a big heart, person that stand on 10 toes. Not perfect. He's a perfect example of what could happen for you in life if you believe in yourself.
50's grin while Cameron performed wasn't just friendly, it was the smile of a man watching his rival's empire crumble from the inside. That moment wasn't about music, it was about message. Together they reminded everyone that alliances built on old grudges and unfinished business are the deadliest kind. From a business perspective, the difference between 50, Cam, and Jim couldn't be clearer. 50's sitting on an empire, TV deals, liquor brands, production studios, all worth millions. Cam's reinvented himself too, turning into a slick media boss and sports commentator with a loyal audience. But Jim, he's still out here fighting to stay in the conversation. Yeah, he's got 9 Billboard 200 entries, but not one hit that's topped the chart. Compare that to Nas, the same guy Jim once boldly compared himself to. Nas got 27 entries and 6 #1 albums. Those stats alone tell the story. This isn't just about talent anymore, it's about structure, influence, and reach. And that's why a lot of people are starting to believe that 50's warning might not be aimed at Jim alone. What if the message was bigger, about the industry itself, about how image has overtaken authenticity? When 50 said, "Some of y'all better chill before I remind the city what really happened," maybe he wasn't just calling out one man, maybe he was calling out the entire culture that's been forgetting what truth really looks like. Insiders are whispering that 50's team has been quietly doing their homework, digging through old contracts, reaching out to forgotten contacts, and revisiting Dipset's early deals. And if even part of those rumors turn out to be real, then Jim might not just be facing embarrassment, he could be staring down exposure on multiple fronts: financial, personal, and professional. The fear coming out of Jim's camp says it all. For a man who thrives on cameras, attention, and social media noise, his sudden silence is screaming. It's like everyone around him knows something's brewing but can't say it out loud. Because anyone who's ever watched 50 move knows the signs. When he starts posting and deleting, that's not hesitation. That's the setup. And by the time the next move hits, it's already too late to run. A former label insider spilled that Jim's management has been glued to social media lately, treating every post and rumor like crisis control. And that alone says everything. Because when 50 Cent's involved, silence doesn't mean strength, it means someone's been warned to sit tight until they know what's coming next. But here's the thing, 50 still hasn't said a single word since that deleted post. No interviews, no follow-ups, no captions, just that one line still echoing across the culture like a ticking bomb. Every outlet covering the story keeps piling on new theories. Some think 50's gearing up for a documentary through one of his production companies, maybe something that'll expose the real stories behind the G-Unit and Dipset era, the money, the loyalty, and the betrayal that defined it, and honestly, it doesn't sound far-fetched at all. 50's built a career out of flipping grudges into gold. For him, humiliation isn't revenge, it's marketing. Every feud becomes fuel, every rival becomes free promo. The man knows how to turn chaos into currency. Meanwhile, Jim's name has never been under heavier scrutiny.
We've been together longer than I've seen a lot of people be married. You know what I mean?
And you're not afraid of commitment.
No, obviously not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Obviously not.
Because usually that's the thing.
Obviously not. Like, I'm not even the boss in my household. I'm permitted, you heard? But
because
ever since the LOX demolished Dipset in that Versus battle, the cracks in his image got harder to hide. His stage energy felt stiff compared to Jadakiss's effortless dominance. Critics called it the night the torch officially passed, and that label has stuck ever since. Since then, Jim's been fighting to stay relevant, dropping interviews, fashion collabs, and social media moments to remind folks he's still here. But under 50's shadow, even his smallest slip-ups look like major stumbles. Insiders say his inner circle is split right now. Some want him to fire back, others are begging him to stay quiet and wait it out. But in hip-hop, when 50 Cent calls your name and you go quiet, it's not peace, it's pressure, the kind that keeps building until something finally snaps. Industry sources say the tension is creeping into Jim's business world too. Some brand partners are reportedly getting cold feet, not wanting their names caught in whatever storm might be brewing. Even a few longtime collaborators are said to be stepping back, waiting to see how this all plays out. And here's the scariest part. The fear in Jim's camp isn't about a diss track. Everyone knows when 50 moves, he's not dropping verses, he's dropping evidence. It's not that people think 50 is gonna drop bars. It's that he might drop receipts.
you know what I mean? People think you got all this money. Yeah, I do got money, but if I don't hustle every day to pay these bills the same way you got to work every day to pay your bills, it'll be detrimental for me the same way it'd be detrimental for you. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm constantly on the hustle to make more money. That's what life is about. You know what I mean? Money fixes a lot of things. You know what I mean? They say money don't buy happiness, but it made me smile a lot of times.
Whispers are flying fast about old recordings, unreleased studio sessions, and phone calls from the early 2000s that could suddenly pop up out of nowhere. Some even claim old Dipset legal files and contracts are being quietly pulled back out for review. Nothing's confirmed yet, but the fact that folks are even talking like this shows how powerful 50's reach still is. All he has to do is hint, and the whole culture starts digging. And if those files or tapes actually exist, whew! The fallout wouldn't stop with Jim. It could ripple through everyone tied to those early deals. This isn't just about pride anymore, it's about legacy and control. 50's not just another rapper at this point. He's the self-made gatekeeper of New York hip-hop history, deciding who gets crowned and who gets exposed. By teaming up with Cam and stepping into this ring, 50's basically reclaimed the power to shape the narrative. He's reminding everyone that the one who holds the truth controls the story, and that's exactly what scares people the most. Jim might have thought this was just another back and forth, but he's playing on 50's board now, and 50 always plays for keeps. The warning was never just about a slick comment, it was a message to the whole industry. Don't rewrite history unless you're ready for someone to fact check it. Now the real question isn't if 50 will respond, it's when and how. Because every hour of silence from him feels heavy, like it's leading up to something explosive. Every deleted post feels like a countdown ticking louder and louder, and if 50 is really gearing up to remind the city, then we might be standing right at the edge of another hip-hop storm. So what happens when the truth finally drops? Drop your thoughts below, stay locked in for the updates, and before you dip, make sure you smash that like button if you're riding with us, tap subscribe if you're a real one, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single messy update. Trust me, you're gonna want to be here for the next video.